C1. You are listening at FameTV.info. As Qiao Yi was still half asleep and half awake, she felt something pressing on her chest. She frowned uneasily, but her chest gradually started to feel like it was on fire. She wanted to escape, but the fire quickly spread to her entire body. The burning desire made her open her lips, but before she could breathe the cool air, her lips were suddenly sealed. She felt that she had become more thirsty and hot, and she desperately wanted to be free. However, the desire in her mouth hadn't subsided yet. Her body seemed to be burning away. She felt an unbearable emptiness, but there was nothing that could alleviate it. This kind of unbearable feeling caused her to frown, causing her to unconsciously let out a sound. Her hands wanted to grab onto something, as if only by doing so could she get rid of this kind of unbearable feeling, and her hands really grabbed onto something. Ah! She abruptly opened her eyes. A pair of eyes that were deep and bright in the darkness startled Qiao Yi. Before she could even scream, the owner of the eyes had already kissed her lips. In that instant, she realized that the owner of the eyes was her husband. Relaxing, she whispered, "Husband. You're back." The man was Qiao Yi's husband, Lu Jingyuan. Lu Jingyun hung above her body as he spoke hoarsely. "Darling, do you miss me?" His straightforward question made Qiao Yi blush a little, but she still spoke her mind without thinking. Want to? Although she was shy, Lu Jingyun was still very happy. He liked her way of thinking that she would never beat around the bush, and he liked her way of expressing her love for him. Actually, they had only been married for 3 months. To Qiao Yi, who had gotten used to this kind of man, she would always forget that he had already entered her life. However, apart from the fact that she wasn't used to it, she didn't feel any discomfort at all. She and he had initially not known each other, but now, they liked life together more and more. He was mature and steady, gentle and considerate. She looked at Lu Jingyun's face that was even more mysterious and handsome in the darkness, took the initiative to wrap both his arms around his neck and pulled him closer to her. "Hubby, do you miss me?" Lu Jingyun's low and hoarse laughter slowly came out, as though a cello's voice had pierced her heart. When she heard it, her body trembled slightly. "Darling, I think about you every day." He was only halfway through. Qiao Yi only looked at his increasingly dark and gloomy eyes and understood his unspoken meaning. Her face flushed red again, not daring to look at Lu Jingyun's eyes that made her entire body feel hot. She closed her eyes and slowly raised the corner of her mouth. The man lowered his head and kissed her. In the darkness, he began to struggle with his life on the line. The flowers bloomed in the spring. The sunlight shone through the curtains. Qiao Yi blinked his somewhat unsteady eyes, lazily stretched himself, buried his head into the soft blanket and lovingly rubbed it against his head. The door opened and a fragrant smell of food rushed in. Soon, the bed was slightly sunken down. "Wife, it's time to wake up." Qiao Yi's body slightly stiffened, when he heard that familiar yet foreign low voice. Before he could even move on his own, he had already been carried by a blanket into some kind of wide and powerful embrace. She opened her eyes and saw a handsome face. The gentle and smiling eyes were no longer as wild as the night before. Qiao Yi slightly moved, wanting to escape from his shy gaze. "Put me down and I'll get up." "All right." Before Lu Jingyun obediently put her down, he first kissed her forehead. "Breakfast is ready." "I'll wait for you." Qiao Yi nodded obediently. You should leave first." Soon." Lu Jingyun laughed, and did not expose her shy little trick. He got up and left the bedroom. Qiao Yi looked at his tall and long back as he left. She then let out a long sigh of relief, and patted her hot cheeks, and scolded herself lightly. He had already been married for 3 months, why was he still so shy? After changing and washing up, Qiao Yi walked toward the living room spiritually. Breakfast had been placed on the tea table. Their house was not large, there was no dining room, and their meals were all arranged on the coffee table in the living room. Seeing that he had not yet received the apron, his handsome face was calm and gentle. No matter what, he would never be able to contact the shameless him at night. It was like he was a double character. He made her feel safe during the day, but at night he made her blush and feel like her heart was beating fast. Such a strange person. What are you thinking? It's time to eat. You should go and see the instructor today to get your thesis. Lu Jingyun blushed again as he looked at the little girl, staring at her in a daze. A small face filled with her thoughts. However, he didn't expose her. Every time he saw that her face was so red that even her earlobes were about to drip blood, his body couldn't help but move emotionally. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.